Real Madrid defeat Manchester City 3-0 in spectacular fashion with a great Fede Valverde, who was a mixture of Romario, Cafu, Pirlo, you name it, man. The guy was unstoppable today, thanks to a poor Manchester City side. And kind of the first thing that I want to say, like, context going into this game. Um, it's no doubt that Real Madrid were in a huge slump. They've been coming off of a very, very tumultuous tenure under Arbeloa, with the team getting booed multiple times at the Bernabeu, with a multitude of injuries coming in. Recently conceding even more of a lead to Barcelona in the league, and things didn't look good. But on the other hand, you have Manchester City, and you had a Manchester City side that has found itself in a Premier League race that's honestly, after today, I consider to be pathetic. It's pathetic that this Manchester City side was even involved in a Premier League race to begin with, because I think they have 5 losses so far this season, and at some point, I don't know how many, like, I think they got up to 2 points behind Arsenal at one point in time, because it's just been dumb and dumber fighting to see who can mess up the most at the same time with those two. So I think people had this false perception that City were playing well because they were in the title race. But make no mistake, I have watched this City team this season concede possession to some of these sorriest sides, and with all due respect, to some of these sorriest sides, losing possession of the ball. A Guardiola team. That is a red flag if I've ever seen one. That's indicative that this team is not playing well. So, today, we go into this game with these expectations, right? Some certain people, I've personally called out City on their BS for a while, thinking that they're not a good team. So, I honestly, it's just you. Let me gather my thoughts here. Guardiola does another overthinking mess again, going in there with 4 forwards in the fashion of Haaland up top, but Semenyo as a 10, Doku on the left, and Savinho on the right. With Phil Foden and Ryan Cherokee on the bench. Not only that, you go in there with 32-year-old coming off of ACL injury, Rodri, and a 50-year-old Bernardo Silva. You get it. If Bernardo Silva is not playing, we cannot play the same. I get it. You don't have a substitute for him. Right. You go and then you stick Kusanov on Vinicius' side, right? Because you said you don't want anyone to attack on that side because Vinicius is on that side. You want a more defensive profile. And then you count on Crystal Palace incomer Mark Gahey on his Champions League debut. I don't know, his first couple of stints in the Champions League, and you stick him at the Bernabeu, who he had been playing well, but honestly, I'm just beefing with him because to me, what he did in his Valverde's third and final goal was pathetic. But anyways, and then Donnarumma and this stadium, dog. The number of times I have to see Donnarumma make an idiotic move in this stadium is incredible, man. Hats off, Donnarumma. Hats off to you, because I've seen you do the worst at this stadium. And in today's episode, we see a new cinematic short film where we see Donnarumma come out poorly to attack Fede Valverde, and when the ball is running next to you, you pull your hand from blocking the ball, letting Fede Valverde draw the figure eight around you. Wow. Wow. Bravo. Good stuff there, Donnarumma. Anyways, um, you know, one particular thing that I always found hilarious, that Real Madrid fans kept trying to run away with saying, is that they have a poor squad. This squad is not poor. Even with all the injuries that they have, this squad is not poor at an individual level, and they've never played I think the Xavi Alonso thing was a failed experiment because what Real Madrid is or has been since Mourinho left has been this. And what is this? The power of love and friendship and juju and vibes. It doesn't matter who's injured. It doesn't matter who's playing. The spirit of vibes, peacemaking, and the nonchalant. Stop training so much. Stop watching too much tactics. You're doing too much. That's Real Madrid's vibe. They have never played a beautiful brand of football since then. Not with Ancelotti, not with Zidane, not with Xavi Alonso, and not with Arbeloa. What is Madrid's biggest weakness so far this season? We have seen it's one of two things, and this entire time, this entire stretch, honestly, it's two things. Either one, a team that completely dominates their idea and their intention of play and possesses the ball incredibly well. In this day and age, who's probably capable of doing this? Probably Barcelona. I think Arsenal to a lesser extent. We saw it last season with a very conservative approach. Bayern Munich and PSG. Where does if you're outside of this scope right here, more than likely, if you attempt at taking the game to Madrid, pushing Madrid back into a low block and forcing them off the counter, you are fried. You're absolutely cooked. Put the fries in the bag. You got nothing to do here but to sit back and see Valverde score a hat trick on you. It doesn't matter, bro. It really doesn't matter who it's going to be. Someone's going to show up because this is what the power of love and friendship is at Real Madrid. This stupid city side came in here all high and mighty, thinking that they were just gonna waltz into the Bernabeu with a Crystal Palace and Bournemouth incomers, with the Kusanov on the right on Vinicius, and think that they were just gonna waltz their way into a result. Not even peak Manchester City, the one that thrashed them 4-0 at the Etihad, went into the Bernabeu and was able to just cruise around them. No, they got a tie out of that. What on earth made you think that when you see Real Madrid deploy a 4-5-1, you thought, hey, you know what would be what would be good to go up against these five midfielders? Rodri and Bernardo Silva. Oh, you're trying to retain the ball. You're trying to retain the ball with Doku, who Doku is the Adama, he is the Messi of Adama Traores. I promise you, I've seen him fake out Trent. You stick 3v1 on him, that's raps. His final product, he put and hey, mind you, the first 15 minutes, I think City played well, but there was no one crashing the box. There was 4 forwards and no one was crashing the box. Someone's gonna have to explain that to me. But then, what are y'all doing out here playing with that? You're trying to conserve the ball against Real Madrid, and you stick Savinho, Semenyo, and Doku. Your only 2 ball retainers are Rodri and Bernardo Silva. How on earth were you gonna generate any sort of interior gameplay? You have Ryan Cherky and Phil Foden sitting on the bench. Stick one of them in there, bruh. Stick one of them in there. Because between Semenyo and Haaland receiving down the middle, that was a black hole. That was food. That was fries. That was a large burger and a shake for Hausen today. Hausen bullied. Why am I Hausen, who has been poor this season? Just ask any Madrid fan. Just bullied Haaland today, and because he didn't get much service, and it was so easy because there was no fluidity inside. There was no through balls. There wasn't anything of substance in a City's attacking third. You went in there with this nonchalant and they're booing Real Madrid at their own stadium. This is gonna be cake. You go waltz in there, Guardiola. We're gonna put Nico O'Reilly on the left side, and we're gonna put Kusanov on the right. you saw your game plan work in the league phase, and you're like, you know what? Let me switch it up real quick. Favor. ¿Qué haces, Guardiola? ¿Qué haces? Let's talk about the goals. The first one, Courtois with a dot to Fede Valverde, and this is when it's important for people to have I think it's very important for people that have actually played the game at some sort of level analyze the game, because you see that ball coming in, right? Valverde is onside because he's starting that run off of on his own half, and Nico O'Reilly gets caught in no man's land. Why? Let's not talk about why you're throwing Nico O'Reilly in this game, right? At the Bernabeu, thinking things were gonna be sweet. It was gonna be cute. It was gonna be sly, right? No. So Nico O'Reilly, either you have one or two options. You play off of your man and give yourself enough space to break down and run and push your winger to one side, outside preferably, or on his weak foot. Or you're up and close and personal with your man, so you can go up and dispute that duel. We're talking about players at the highest level. You give Valverde half an inch of space, he takes that touch and absolutely takes you out of that play. And what does he do? He does just that. He does just that. And then, Donnarumma does what he does. All right, whatever. Guardiola, you play Kusanov to play defensive on Vinny, right? I see Vinny running down the left-hand side with Kusanov kind of somewhat sort of approaching him. And let's be real here. There is some misfortune in this one, but Vinicius cuts inside comfortably. No one presses him, not Kusanov, not Ruben Diaz. No one on that right-hand side for City presses him. And he goes and plays to dink a ball over, bounces off of Ruben Diaz, where Valverde runs across goal, takes a touch, and slots it across the net past Donnarumma. 2-0. And then the final icing on the cake. Who is it that's on that side? I think it's Brahim Diaz who receives inside the box, facing away from goal. There's like 4 City defenders there. I think it's Nico O'Reilly. I think it's Gehi. I'm not too sure who the other 2 midfielders were. They're all there, right? It's 4 of them. Watching Brahim Diaz receive the ball in the box, Brahim Diaz turns around. No one crashes his back. Brahim Diaz sits there and turns around. As he does that, Valverde is making a run in behind all 4 of them. Not a single one of them picking him up. Brahim Diaz, food gracefully, magically plays a terrific through ball, dinks it, and then Valverde's going out to get his touch on it, and here goes Gehi. Gehi, what are you doing, dog? You gotta go in there and crash into that. What are you doing? What is this? You're pulling back? What? Yeah. Put your body on the line, dog. What you doing? What you out here? Little poke, a little poke. Valverde gets a touch over Gehi, and then just again just takes his chance beautifully. 3-0, 3-0. And let's just stop the count. The game's pretty much ended there. What else do I need to tell you? Honestly, this Madrid team has had this quality. A lot of people were criticizing Fede Valverde this season, and it's just because one thing that really irritates me is the way people turn on certain players just because they're not being deployed appropriately and the environment isn't being cultivated for them to thrive. It's so annoying. Like so annoying. Because we saw a Xavi Alonso that was trying to make of something out of Valverde that he wasn't. A ball retaining possession guy that short two that sets the tempo of the game. Bro, stop that. Valverde isn't that. He's a box to box all terrain guy. He's there to crash the box. He's there to make runs in behind. He's there to bite. He's there to tackle. He's there to defend. He's there to recover the ball and give it to whoever knows how to play well. And you were trying to ask of something that he was not capable of doing. And because of that, you had Madrid fans turning on him. And when is that most exposed? It's when Madrid has the ball and when they're having to break down a low block, because that is Madrid's weakest point right here. Playing against a low block. That's why they struggle so bad in La Liga. That's why we saw Budimir and was it Raul Garcia and Victor Munoz do what they did to them the other day in the league. That's why we see Getafe do what they did to them the other day in the league. That's why we saw Celta de Vigo do what they did to them in the Copa del Rey. Bro, it's so easy. If you do not dominate your own idea, sit in a low block and fry these guys and watch them fumble the ball between themselves, because the power of Juju and Vibes off the counter is immaculate for them. It really is. It's spectacular what they do off the counter. Whenever it's no thoughts, just vibes. That's the game right there. That's the game. That's Madrid's game right there in UCL. And let me tell you something else. This team is so difficult to play against and they're so hard to beat. They are so difficult to beat. As a Barca fan, I enjoyed last season so much because beating them is hard. Beating them is difficult. Beating these guys week in and week out in the league is difficult. And you know, you got these Prem fans that talk to you with such air of prestige and higher upness to them, your highness. Bro, sit down, dog. You not cut from that type of cloth. All right. So whenever you don't take Madrid seriously, these Prem teams just get torched like they did today. They have no understanding of what it is to play at the Bernabeu. And as long as teams continue to not take Madrid seriously as they should, Madrid's one of the favorites to win this competition. Today's result is no surprise to me. This City side is terrible, man. Terrible, terrible. And then you got Guardiola doing his little thing. All right, well, all right, bro. So it's unserious to play Sevilla today. It's unserious. And leave Ryan Cherky on the bench for as long as you did. Man, lovely. But look, there's a degree of satisfaction that I've gotten for today. Besides the Madrid and City game, the other game that I kind of kept up with was the PSG versus Chelsea. And I made the unfortunate mistake of watching a little bit of Arsenal's game, right? And for the rest of these games. And this kind of goes in theme with City and the Premier League, Arsenal, you know, what happened to Tottenham. And these Prem believers, you know, being a believer was cute. It was nice. It was cool. Some might say people like being believers of Justin Bieber's light skin era back then. But in this day and age, the Premier League at the elite level is so pathetic. What have I done to deserve to watch an Arsenal game, bro? I dare anyone to tell me and sit there and try not to take a nap watching that Leverkusen versus Arsenal game. That is some of the most I'm tired of watching Arsenal games this season. Every time I think, hey, but it's a good game, I'm about to watch Man City versus Arsenal. I'm about to watch Arsenal versus Liverpool. I'm about to watch Arsenal versus I don't know who. Why do I keep doing this to myself? Why do I keep? But bro, I've said it time and time again in my short form content, but Arteta has regressed every single year. He's playing more and more like this pragmatic, practical style of play that's disgusting to me. I make no mistake, out of them, Arsenal is a very, very difficult team to beat because don't confuse the two. Arsenal play horrendous, but they are so hard to beat. They are the team that they're probably one of the teams in the world that's the hardest to beat, but that evokes the less emotion out of you. And I've seen, look, they beat Bayern 3-1 early in the season, and they were self-proclaiming, you know, best team in the world shouts. Arsenal could beat Bayern 30 times in a row, 4-0, and they will still never be half the team that this current Bayern team is. I'm sick of these short-sightedness that people have of the game. DA merchants, these wrestling matches that I'm having to see in on the corner flag because, bro, I'm sorry, but with the amount of money that you spend, with the amount of players that you have, the talent that you have, for you to play such a gimmick game where you're counting on corners and praying. Finally, Thierry Henry, your club's biggest legend, finally said, "Stop with this nonsense. I am tired of seeing my team play corner ball, and I am tired of it too. What have I done to deserve to watch an Arsenal game, bro? And okay, all right, you do your thing, you score your goals. I'm not complaining about that. But my thing is the reliance and dependence on that. It's gross, bro. It's disgusting. I want to see Saka do something. I want to see Odegaard do something. I want to see Trossard play. I want to see, I don't know, either Havertz or Merino or someone get fed the ball. You've got Zubimendi. You've got Declan Rice. You've got players to play a much better brand of football than the one that you do because you're so scared of fumbling because you are traumatized from the times that you bottled the Premier League. Relax, bro. It's okay. There is another way to go about this. It doesn't have to be this way, Arteta. I promise you. It doesn't have to be this way. I loved Arsenal's 2021 season. It was beautiful. It was majestic. It was seeing their tiki-taka. Okay, you bottled it. Let the team grow and mature. But do not entrap them in this disgusting play style that you're doing. You know, today seeing Varaskelia was like a breath of fresh air. I was suffocating. I was suffocating. Seeing Dembele, seeing Varaskelia, seeing Barcola, it was a breath of fresh air. Oh my goodness. Because what I was watching today was disgusting. It was disgusting. And this narrative around the Premier League being so superior to La Liga, and that and trying to take away merit from whenever Barca beats Madrid, or whenever trying to take away merit of whenever Barca wins a good game, or whenever you go to the Bernabeu and thinking it's gonna be a cakewalk. No, 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 no. Look. I hope this is the reality check that the Prem needed to head another direction, because the way it's heading, it's disgusting. I was watching more Elias earlier today, and his Elias Bouzidi from SDS on his YouTube channel kind of analyzed the game, and he said something that clicked. How many Premier League players are there that could score the goal that Vicha Varaskelia scores today? That banger that he rips past Jorgensen. It's so, but the streets need wingers that take on their man and show a bit of flair and add a touch of magic to the game. It doesn't all have to be cutbacks and passes around. I promise you, it doesn't. It doesn't. Oh man, and not just that, but the Premier League is getting exposed. Not a single win, and everyone was up in arms yesterday because Newcastle, Newcastle tied, bro. They played the game of their lives. They played the game of their lives. That's what happened yesterday, and Barca had to deal with it because these guys are like an average height of like 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", and they played the game of their lives. And we had just come off of a very, very tiresome games, and we did what we had to do. But I promise you, that same game is not gonna be played at the Camp Nou. And Newcastle played a great game, hell of a game. It's the same game that Atletico Madrid did against us in the Copa del Rey, but they thrashed us, and we learned our lesson from that, and we're able to adapt. But this air of superiority that people try to gas of the Premier League and the title race and this and that, bro, it's been clown fighting clown this season. You know, this big six. What is big about Tottenham, bro? What is big about Spurs? There's nothing big about that. The biggest thing they got is the NFL and the Travis Scott concerts and Beyonce and the concerts. You know, that's what's big about Tottenham Hotspur, the stadium. But other than that, don't the rainy night in Stoke, or he wouldn't do it in the Prem. But go look at what place Leverkusen are in. Go bro. You guys have seen the way Real Madrid was in coming into this game, and you get smacked around like that, bro. The prem this best league in the world gimmick, bro. Allow it, bro. Chill. Let's all take a breather because you guys need to start showing some respect to these other leagues, especially La Liga. It ain't sweet. The Premier League, Man City, Arsenal, who else? I don't know who else. The big six could not do it. Getafe away at 3:15 p.m. Rayo Vallecano away. Osasuna away. Mallorca away. Murici. La Liga Heritage. Stop the cap with the Premier League hype. It's hype. And this is why winning the Spanish league has so much value and why I want to win it so badly. All right. I just completely delved into another subject, but I'm here for it because the timeline has been glorious. It's been Premier League slander all day, and I'm here for it. If there's no more Premier League slander, it's because I'm not on this earth anymore. I love it. I'm here for it. Gala slapping around Liverpool. Sign me up. All right. Of course, I wanted Madrid to lose, but on the other hand, let's look at the bright side. As Barca fans, these Champions League games affect their performance in the league because you have to keep one eye on the midweek when you're going to the weekend. And I hope Barca have a proper performance against Sevilla. We saw what happens when we don't go into the league. Sevilla thrashed us 4-1 earlier in the season, so we better go into that game with the proper intensity and attention that game deserves because La Liga is a very difficult league. And in a way, if Madrid make it past this round, they'd have to face Bayern next round, and those are just all these games affect La Liga. And ultimately, if they were to clear the schedule now, it'd probably be I'm trying to see the glass full here. They would be able to focus all of their efforts on the league. But anyways, yeah. Oh, one last thing. I didn't catch the game, but Bodo Glimt hanging 3 on Sporting Club de Portugal. These kind of Cinderella stories keep the game alive, man. This is spectacular. This is awesome, man. What are we doing here, man? Shout out. Where they? I don't even know where they're from. Norway? Is They're Norwegians, man. Shout out Bodo Glimt. Hey, watch out. But anyways, the rest of the games today, I think that was it. But the ones that I paid attention to was primarily the PSG Chelsea and the Man City versus Real Madrid. But like I said, I think today we walk away with Premier League slander, and I'm all here for it, y'all. Another thing, Vinny had a great game. He had a great game, and he had been booed many times before, but I've said it again before, I'll say it again. He has been hindered by the including of Mbappe in this squad. And make no mistake, when Mbappe comes back, this Madrid side is going to be just as dangerous. But he was another case like Valverde where he's getting whistled, he's getting the blame because the environment that has been cultivated has been to serve Kiki Mbappe. Vinicius is a guy that's meant to carry a team and for the team to play for him, and that's when he operates at his best. You take that away, he's a Batman, he's not a Robin. But hey, that's up for Madrid to figure out. Let me know what you guys made of all of this in the comments, and then see you in the next video. Make sure to drop a comment, like and subscribe as well. And yeah, man, the beautiful game. I love it.